Donald Trump arrived in the UK mere hours after the historic Brexit vote, but with the world at attention, the presumptive Republican nominee chose to talk golf over politics. The move has been labeled both bizarre and absurd by some, and now Hillary Clinton is seizing on the opportunity to attack, releasing this mashup using clips from Trump's speech in Scotland.
We've taken the lighthouse, which is a very, very important building in Florida, in Scotland.
We are now in unprecedented territory.
Golfers will stop and they'll go and get something to eat, and then they go into the 10th hole.
The Dow looks to open lower by about 500 points.
Look, if the pound goes down, they're going to do more business. You know, when the pound goes down, more people are coming to Turnberry.
Joining me now to talk about the impact Brexit could have on the race here at home, political editor at rightalerts.com and Trump supporter Scottie Nell Hughes, Democratic strategist and Clinton supporter Maria Cardona, and CNN political commentator Tara Satmeyer. So, Scottie, I want to start off with you here because we saw the mashup, we saw the ad there, and there were a lot of political pundits as well as some Republicans who looked at Trump's initial response and were dumbfounded. They thought he missed this opportunity here to present himself as a leader on foreign policy, to take hold of a situation that some even argued would benefit him in the arguments that he has made about taking America back and making America great again, and what took place in the UK. Was he not prepared? Did he not have that his foreign policy team really kind of giving him what he needed to make that kind of statement on the ground?
Well, listen, Winston Churchill once said, unsuccessful intervention in the affairs of another country is generally agreed to be a mistake. And I think Mr. Trump was taking his advice. Because when you're going into this, he's setting the example. He's going to let the people of one country make the decisions for themselves, and he expects the same type of respect for America when he is in the executive office. Now, if he wanted to hide from anything, he would not have spent the last 2 days with reporters going everywhere, to every golf hole, to everything, asking him questions, open-ended, and him responding. Now, Hillary Clinton can sit here and take her sound bites and make her little mashable, but the truth is, after he talked about his golf course, that he was there to support his son, to support his family, just like you and I go to support our children at their baseball games and their recitals, he talked at end and answered openly all the questions reporters asked. Unlike Hillary Clinton, it's been over 180 days since she's opened herself up to the public and scrutiny as well. And
Scottie, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to supporting their children clearly in their activities, but was there not a risk of him sounding provincial when he's talking about, you know, these details of his resort and all the kind of lovely things that are going on, and, you know, very, very specific to him and his family, and despite the fact that he is running for office, he's running for president?
Well, which one do you want it to be? On one hand, you sit there and people criticize him for being a businessman. And then on the other hand, when he's sitting here and he's showing off what great things that his business is accomplishing and what he has produced, you sit there and you say, well, why aren't you talking about other things? Listen, I think he did a great job of mixing both of them together, as well as showing the pride he has in his family for what they're doing as a group together. And it's not like this is any other golf course. This is a golf course with his name on it, and he brought the entire press with him. So it wasn't like he was hiding from anybody. He was opening himself up at all times for any questionings and never said no to anything.
Tara, I want you to weigh in on this, what you made of that moment and how that played out on the national and international stage, that he was there at the time that something profoundly in Europe was changing the markets and relationships potentially around the world.
Right. It was a historic global event. And Donald Trump was there talking about the sprinkler systems on his golf course. I mean, this is crazy. You're running for president. This whole thing about, oh, he's supporting his children, they're grown. They're grown adults, these children, okay? We're not talking about, like, the first christening of his grandson or something. I mean, give me a break. And you're running for the presidency of the United States. You're not a businessman anymore. So it's very difficult for people to look and take his candidacy seriously when he's promoting a golf course that's, A, losing money, but he claimed that he was making money on it in his financial disclosure forms. There's some discrepancy there. He's reviled in Scotland. He promised 6,000 jobs would be created as a result of his golf courses there. There's been about 150. So it's another example of him over-promising and under-delivering, which he's done in many of his foreign businesses overseas, that, you know, the Clintons are going to jump right on that. Here's an opportunity, was an opportunity for him to demonstrate what a brilliant businessman he is. He's got such a big brain. Well, why didn't he talk about the financial markets, the implications for the United States, the importance of sovereignty and liberty, and what actually happened with Brexit in a cogent, mature way? But no, instead he used the opportunity to A, pay for it with his own campaign funds, which was clearly a business trip, running around having the media follow him on the golf course, making a spectacle of it, and instead he blew an opportunity to capitalize on what was a fairly good week for him, considering the last month and a half has been a disaster.
Maria, let's bring you into the conversation here, because we're talking about Hillary Clinton, and Trump found a way to hit her over Brexit. He's tweeted this. He said, "So funny, crooked Hillary called Brexit so incorrectly, and now she says that she is the one to deal with the UK. All talk, no action." Was there an opportunity in some way for her to respond to that criticism, or to in some way show her own knowledge, gravitas, perhaps, over what was taking place?
Oh, I think she has done that plenty in the last month, especially given the contrast of what we saw with Donald Trump during this press conference. And I couldn't agree more with what Tara said. This looked more like an infomercial for the Golf Channel than it did a presidential candidate overseas. And I think it demonstrated two things, Suzanne. Number one is that business comes first for Donald Trump. Donald Trump has always been about making money for himself, and that continues to be the case. And I think for Americans who are looking for somebody to stand up for them, for solutions on how they're going to make the next president is going to make their economies better, they're not hearing that from Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is talking about thread counts, is talking about sprinkler systems, is talking about luxury hotel rooms. And so I think in the face of what happened that was so impactful from a global perspective, and he did have an opportunity to exhibit some sort of knowledge on the financial end here, and he completely blew it. The second thing he did was, in not talking about that, and let's remember that not too many days ago, he didn't really even know what Brexit was when he was asked about it from a reporter. And then he finally Googled it, I guess found out something about it from his advisors. And when he was asked if he's going to talk more to his foreign policy advisors about it, he said, there's nothing else to talk about. So that underscored the second thing, which was that this is a man who not only has dangerous rhetoric and dangerous policies, but that he is completely temperamentally unfit to be president, completely unprepared, and wholly unqualified. And I think come November, the American people are going to be voting for Trexit.
So, Scottie, I want you to have the opportunity to get the last word here and address some of the criticisms that are coming from both Tara and Maria, and how does Trump change the narrative that is the pound goes down, I do well, to something that has a we or an us in it?
Absolutely. And first thing off, I want to say thank you, Tara. This was probably the first compliment I've ever heard you say. I think that's a great thing that Mr. Trump did have a good week. But I have to wonder, what other press conferences were you two watching? Because what I saw were, yes, he did reference his golf course, but he also answered every question concerning the markets and about the markets that were, why they were dropping, and his response to it and how he would have handled it. I mean, he did a good job. And we have spent the last 48 hours talking about Mr. Trump in Scotland, every story. So don't tell me that he's not talked about markets and the business, because every chance he's got, he's opened himself up to those questions, and they have come, and he has answered them correctly. Now, as for, whether or not the temperament, or, you're just assuming. You are assuming, which I don't like that, when you assume that he did not know what the Brexit is. He references it several times. He says this journalist watches the news. No,
just read the Hollywood Reporter story. He didn't know what it was.
Yeah, he didn't know what it was.
Did he say, I didn't know? No, that's not what I heard. I heard that he said, we're just going to see how things happen. He was removing himself, letting the people make their decision.
He said, no one should listen to me on Brexit.
It's
one of the biggest global stories happening right now.
Yeah, it was just embarrassing for him.
You need to think that he doesn't actually know it. The man watches more news than anything else. He's probably watching this right now.
That's right. He gets all the stuff from the shows.
Okay. Ladies, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to have to leave it there. We have run out of time. We will continue this debate. We will continue this conversation. We appreciate all of you. Scottie, Nell Hughes, Tara Satmar, and Maria Cardona. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
We will continue this again.